And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. It is the absolutely Premier League show. It's absolutely scorching, but we're going to talk transfer news with you. We did our season review last week. We closed off last season, so we're looking forward. We're looking ahead. We're looking to the future, the exciting times to come. Everyone has an opportunity. That's what we love on this podcast. We love a good opportunity. And of course, we've got Rebecca here. Rebecca, how are you? How are you surviving the heat wave?
I'm very well, thank you. Surviving it by just getting prepped and ready and excited for Silverstone. So it's been quite hectic. So I've not really had a chance to just like sit and enjoy the heat or anything. It's just been, right, have I got this? Have I got that?
If you're rushing about, you don't feel the heat. You see, you can just you can enjoy it when you're there. You can enjoy it when you're there. At least you don't have to wear the Silverstone overalls, because I imagine that would be pretty toasty. Pretty toasty indeed. And of course, it's not just Rebecca. We're joined by the wonderful Grimmy is here with us. Good evening to you, Grimmy. How are you? How are you coping with the summer?
Yeah, coping's a word. I played badminton last night in 28-degree heat. Don't know if that was the wisest of life choices that I've made, but it's a choice I've made nonetheless. But yes, I'm well, Sam. Thank you very much, despite the almost dehydration I had last night. How are you surviving in this heat?
Very similar, actually. I played tennis last night in that heat. Again, questioning my life choices, but when you're out there, once you start sweating, it doesn't matter. You just carry on. It was probably quite a slow-paced game. I think it was fair to be said. It was a doubles game, fairly kind of leisurely. It wasn't the same kind of action, but we've got Wimbledon for that. We're just doing it leisurely to pass the time in an evening. But there's no better way to pass the time than tonight to talk transfers and see what's been going on. In the meantime, we do have everybody, all the wonderful people in the chat are arriving. They are arriving as if by coach load. We have Graham. Good evening to you, Graham. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to Spenny Fan Chris. Evening to you. Good evening to Paul. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to Simon as well. Hope you're doing well. Graham says it's 27 degrees here. There we go. Go on then. We'll have a competition. Who's got the highest degrees in the chat? Who can claim to be the biggest the biggest melt the biggest melt of the chat, the melter?
I don't know if that's a title you want to keep, but there you go.
Exactly. That's the question. You may not want to win it. And Spenny Fan Chris is watching Wimbledon. Yes, we were just talking about Wimbledon. We were tempted to dedicate a quarter of an hour to the pod on Wimbledon, but might be difficult. I don't think Rebecca's seen anything. So if we go to F1, maybe then Rebecca can come back in.
I'm ready for both. It's fine.
It's a sporting summer. We love a good sporting summer. I quite like it actually when it's. I love when it's. I know we've got the women's Euros, but I love a European Championship or World Cup or such. But then when you get that year in between, at first you're like, oh, it's a long summer. But then you're like, no, actually, it kind of opens other activities up just for a month or two, and then you get back to the nitty gritty and the nonsense, the absolute nonsense. But we're not talking absolute nonsense. We are going to talk the under-21s Euros, which wasn't nonsense because England bloody won it again. They retained the trophy. They beat the German under-21s, which is always lovely, always fantastic. No guesses to who I'm going to go to here, as the only one of the three of us in the panel who watched the final in its entirety and watched the tournament in its entirety. So, Rebecca, how good are England at under-21 football?
Oh, we're very good at under-21s. I mean, if you to watch any of the England team, watch the women and the under-21s, just leave the first team is like the lesson I've learned from recent years. The first team just annoy me too much. But no, to say heading into it, we only had two players from the previous squad that won it in this one. It was a bit of an interesting one to see what Lee Carsley was going to be able to do. He was missing key players, one being Jared Branthwaite, who would have been eligible but was injured, so that was a shame for him. But it was a really interesting setup for him. group stages, we only lost one game, which was against Germany. So the final was a bit of one of them where it's like, right, we've already played them once. What's going to happen here? But it was, I think we had a draw as well. Can't remember who it was against, but it was like quite an up and down one for us. And I know quite a few people were getting a bit fed up in the 0-0 draw because it was a bit dull the way we were playing. But it was, I think that's England for you. We always have that one little match where it's just like just going through the flow of it. But no, it was a great tournament. 2 standout players were Alex Scott of Bournemouth, absolutely incredible player. And he went off injured in the final, and we missed him massively when he went off. It was heartbreaking to see because he had been absolutely outstanding the whole tournament, and of course Harvey Elliott as well. He won Player of the Tournament. He was scoring goals for fun. He got us through to the final as well, and he was absolutely incredible. And he was one of the 2 that played in the squad before, so it was really nice to see him with another medal. And I think Liverpool fans will be happy because that has lifted his price a bit more for when we get into the transfer talk later on. It's one of them. I think he's on quite a few lists at the moment of maybe he will be departing from Liverpool, and where he goes will be interesting. But no, it was an incredible tournament, and there are a lot of exciting young prospects coming up through the ranks with England, and hopefully a few more will be breaking into the first team.
It's good to see, isn't it? It's good to see, and to see that they can have that success that young. And so you say young, and then you're thinking about people like Harvey Elliott, who, although may not have been a regular starter at Liverpool, has played massive Champions League games and things like that. So it puts them in good stead. And as you said, Harvey Elliott's definitely one that people are going to have their eye on. Liverpool look to move it on at a fabulous tournament, and to lift it again. Lee Carsley, did a little bit of a stint up top, and then passed it over to Thomas Tuchel, and we played some wonderful early matches under him, but I'm not talking about that today. And then goes back to the under-21s and does the business. It's the ex-Everton legend, Rebecca, doing the business for England under-21s. Maybe just stay there for him and just keep winning under-21 tournaments, and we'll just won't worry about the big ones. That's all we're interested in. The future. We're all about the future. Does it put a smile on your face, Grimmy, to see the England name win a trophy?
Yeah, every team but the men's team wins a trophy. The main men's team, I should say. It's a fantastic achievement just to get to back-to-back finals, I think. But to actually go and win it, and especially against, a strong Germany team that we beat in the final, who we lost to in the groups as well, of course. Let's not forget that. I think it's an amazing achievement, and hopefully with some of the players in there, they'll be kicking down the door, hopefully for next summer, and maybe can have a bit of a positive influence on the squad, and maybe give us a bit of energy that sometimes we lack.
Okay. The future is bright. David joins us as well, saying evening to everybody. Evening to you, David. Hope you're well. And Paul saying Elliott needs regular first team football. I agree. He's at that point. You get that point where you get a player that I can understand so important when Liverpool use him, but you want to see what he can do week in, week out. And I think, as you said, Rebecca, plenty of suitors, I'm sure, that will want Harvey Elliott next season. So definitely one of those more interesting transfers to keep their eyes on. But we'll go into the transfers, shall we? And we'll start with the teams of the panel, shall we? We'll begin there. Grimmy, it's fair to be said, Manchester United need to do some business.
Just a bit, yeah.
To maybe try and improve.
Laughter in the background is not appreciated.
This is outrageous, Rebecca. We've dealt with last season. It's gone. We're joint top. Yeah. We're joint top. So, Grimmy, so far at Manchester United, we've seen Matheus Cunha. The deal was done pretty early on, so Cunha is in. Yeah. We've got, I think, it was done in January, but there's a very young left back in Diego Leon, who's now officially a Manchester United player. We've seen the likes of Christian Eriksen leave at the end of his contract. We've seen Victor Lindelof leave at the end of his contract. We've seen Johnny Evans leave, but brought back as reserve team recruitment or something or other. I don't care. Manager, he's still with us, and a legend. Just brought back. There's been a lot of talk, Brian Mbeumo, bids going back and forth. So where are you at with we'll start with the Mbeumo bid. Where are you at with Mbeumo? The fee's going up, it's going back and forth. Do you think they're going to get it done, or do you think they've got a walk away point?
2 weeks ago, I think we were getting it done. Going to a third round of talks for a player who we seem pretty much nailed on to be signing isn't filling me with hope. I have to say, based on the history of the past few years with negotiations that we've had, I'm starting to lean that it's not going to happen now, in all honesty, because I just think if we were going to get him with having a second bid, which was pretty close to valuation that Cunha had, or that we got Cunha for, sorry. I feel like that should have done the job. And now Brentford are saying, oh, well, you've gone to there, so maybe you'll go a bit further. And it's kind of like, at some point, we just have to walk away from it if it's going to get too expensive. And as much as I'd want Mbeumo in that team, we're wasting time on him when we could go out and get a bunch of other targets who arguably might not do as good a job, but we need to get people in the door, and then we're wasting too much time with just on one player. And we've done this before with like De Jong and people like that. So I still want to see it do it again.
Yeah, you want them to have at least have a clear strategy that they follow, and if it means they have to walk away.
Yeah.
I think the key is for Manchester United to get a better attack. I think next season, work on the attacking unit as a stage one, because I do think that makes a big difference to the way we're playing. And then we know it's not a one window job. You know, there's plenty to be done, and there's plenty that will come in. But if Mbeumo's the one, then yeah. But at the same time, you can't spend too much. But I wonder whether some of this, as well as obviously struggling at the moment to move on a number of players. And as always with Manchester United getting players out the door, the size of the contract is a massive issue, as well as dealing with the transfer elements to get a decent deal has been a struggle in the past. So, I mean, if we're looking at the list that we're pretty sure want to go, Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho. There's question marks with Højlund as well, because we'll come on to a bit rumours of Ollie Watkins, and they want to get involved in that, but that might be Højlund going, and always, of course, the massive list when you come to Manchester United of all the transfer targets, which is basically every player in the world.
Everybody and the mother, yeah.
Including somebody else. So do you think that's part of the hindrance as well, that we're struggling to move on, and once one or two of them, if we could get those deals done, then it frees up. They've then got surety then a bit more, haven't they, over budget?
Yeah, I mean... Our transfer window, as much as we'd like to get the first couple of players in, whether it was considered a success or not, was always going to be based on what we do with the outgoing players. If we got rid of those players, or even a bunch of those players, and sent one or two of them out on loan, you would take that, I think. But I think we're going to struggle to... I think we'll probably end up selling Garnacho in some way, shape, or form. But I think that the other 3 or 4 will all probably end up being loans because of the size of the wages. Like, no one's going to want to buy Sancho when he's on a £300,000 contract, because he's not going to step back from that. He's not going to be willing, unless it's like a Madrid or someone like that, but they're not going to come in for Sancho. He's not going to take a step back.
They've turned down a couple already, haven't they? I think Sancho's already, rumours are that, already the wages have been a problem with the 2 that were talking to him.
Yeah, and there's like a couple of Turkish clubs I think that are interested in him, but even so, are they going to stump up the amount of money that we need? So even if we sold Rashford, we'd probably have to still pay a bit of his wages for the next year or two until his like contract that he's got with us now ends. So it's the problem we have is we've hit that point where, similar to what Everton have reached, where we kind of like, we don't really have the money to move around. We need to get rid of people first, but there isn't much value in the team. Not to throw a dig at Everton there, by the way, Rebecca. I know you're familiar with the situation. But like, over the past couple of seasons where Everton haven't been able to spend money, we're at that point where if we can't get the players out, we're stuck with what we've got. And if we get to, say, end of preseason, so like end of that US tour, and we still have Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, Sancho, what does that do for Amorim? Like, he's going to have a bunch of players that don't want to be there and don't want to play for him. And he's probably going to just keep them in the reserves and waste away for the next year or two. Like, we have to find some way of getting them out, whether it's we have to pay 50% of the wages or whatever. get the 20, 30 million from each of them if that's what it takes, and just have something to play with essentially, and try and get a few bodies in. That's all we can do.
This is it. It's got to be big, difficult decisions to be made, as you said, to try and help them. They're going to have to facilitate that deal in some way and support the wages to get, as you said, to get a couple of them out. Silk says, although Cunha and Mbeumo are very good, the striker and goalkeeper are awful. Centre midfield needs fixing and not convinced about the defence either. Then players going out the door. They need a lot of signings. I agree, but I think, as we said, it's not going to happen all in this one window. I think everyone knows that United needs stuff everywhere, but the reality is you can't change the entire squads based on FFP alone, plus the fact of the contracts and where you're going to sit. So you kind of got to go in stages, haven't you, and try and improve something at least.
Yeah. Well, if the big part of United's failure last season was scoring goals, if they added simply just, I know it's a very simple way of looking at it, but if you had Cunha's and Mbeumo's goals from last season, put that in United's column, we'd be in the top 8 or 7, I think. So it's like, in terms of goal difference and where we are, we would be top. We would be in and around the European places, which is obviously the same as what we were the previous season. But again, I would take that over 15th where we ended up. Do you know what I mean?
That was the biggest issue, wasn't it? Like, I mean, there's question marks over, yes, Onana makes some mistakes. Yes, the defence weren't perfect, but we created chances and as you said, Højlund can't do nothing up top, wasn't scoring any goals. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes created more chances than anybody else in the Premier League. So that tells you if you've got players that can actually finish at the other end of it. Then, like, if you go on to say, they're talking about maybe wanting someone like an Ollie Watkins, that's 31 goal involvements he had last season. These players in that kind of structure, I think you see, as you said, big change. Suddenly you'd expect to be in that top 8. No one from a United perspective is expecting more than that. I think anything beyond that would be a surprise for sure.
Absolutely. And the other aspect to it as well is that if we're able to attack more with better quality, we'll start to pin teams back. Not necessarily keeping clean sheets left, right, and centre. That's not what I'm saying. But you reduce the amount of time that team's playing in your danger area. So it kind of lends itself hand in hand. And I do think with the defenders we've got, we'll be able to do a job next season in terms of keeping the structure fairly sound. It's just, I would much rather go get the attackers, maybe a midfielder, and then see where we're at. And if that, because you don't, again, even if we had £300 million to spend, as much as I love the guy and I want him to succeed, at this position where Amorim's at, I don't want to spend £300 million and back him and spend all that money and it go wrong the first 10 games and then just have to make a change with another manager, with a bunch of players that don't work in a system he would try to make them work in and have to reset again. So I think we have to kind of take it window by window, and if we see the progress, keep backing him, almost like Arsenal did with Arteta, really, and just build from there. And I would take a top 10 finish next season the way we're at the minute. So I will take that every day of the week.
I want to win it, Grimmy. Screw it. Let's do it. We've signed one player. It's going to change everything. I'm positive.
League title 21 is incoming. It just might not be till 2092 or something.
Might sadly be for Liverpool, not for us.
We might not be around by the time 21 comes the way it's going, but hopefully we will be.
This is it. We hope so. But Simon says United need to give the manager at least 3 transfer windows before they judge him. Yeah, I mean, this is his first window. Let's not forget that. I think the problem is that the kind of borrowed time, isn't it, is already been expired because of how bad the end of last season was. But the reality is this is the one to start to freshen the squad up. And the key for me is the earliness of the transfers. I hate it when we do it, particularly with something like this, where clearly the players don't understand the system. There's a question mark over the system, don't get me wrong, but clearly they don't understand it either. And pre-season's the time that you get to work on it and to play about with it. And if you've then got 4 or 5 coming in at the end of the window, you've lost all that time again. And we're back to where we were last season, trying to knife and fork it. Now, yes, players like Mbeumo are Premier League ready, can hopefully step in a lot quicker than, say, like, getting somebody in from the continent who may take it half a season or so. But it is frustrating. And as Paul says, the superstars are top Wonga, but paying Sancho 300 grand a week, it is a madness. Yeah, the wage structure got out of control a little bit quite a while ago. And David says Ian Henderson, 100 grand will do it. No better finishing. So I couldn't take Ian Henderson off Charles. We couldn't do that to her. He's the GOAT. The GOAT needs to.
Any help
needs to finish his career. Maybe a loan deal. Loan deal. We'll have him for a little bit, and he can go back and finish at Rochdale. We wouldn't take that. Away from him. But Rebecca, you must be happy because there's no links to Jared Branthwaite at Manchester United this summer. Are you happy with that?
Very happy, especially with the news coming out that we are in talks with him to get him signed on a new 5-year deal. So it's looking likely Jared will not be going anywhere for the time being, which is very exciting for all Everton fans.
It's very exciting. And Everton have been involved in, there's quite a bit going on with Everton, particularly with the release, as we have hit the 1st of July, the important 1st of July, where people leave and contracts end and all the rest of it, including one I was reading today on Josh Brownhill, who has left his contract, but nobody knows if he's still at the club or not, from what I was trying to he doesn't turn up for training. He's not in contract. He's a free agent, but he's also not officially listed as gone. So I think there's a lot of Burnley fans, Dan included, going, hey, Josh, you still with us? Are you still there? They're not sure. But obviously you've had, if I look at what Everton have done so far, Rebecca, Carlos Alcaraz, of course, what he's done with Wimbledon. He'll be back playing for you next season. You've got... who else have you got? Some of your loanees won't be returning. I think Harrison and all. Jack Harrison was one of those. Is it Armando Broja, people like that? Sadly, Decore we covered obviously at the end of the season. Decore is gone. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been released. It's the end of the Calvert. How do you feel about the Dominic Calvert-Lewin? 28, so could do a job for somebody. But the injuries are probably the question mark.
Yeah. We've expected it as Everton fans that it was going to come, that he was leaving the club. There had been contracts offered throughout the season, and at the end of the season, we were told that he was in talks. It's him and Michael Keane that were in talks to sign new contracts, and then it came out that he's decided to move on. So it is quite a sad one because what he has done for the club is incredible. I mean, we don't want to have to celebrate this goal, but the goal against Palace that kept us in the Premier League, that goal will is his greatest goal ever. It's just a diving header that we were 2-0 down. He saved us and made sure that we could survive another season in the Prem. And then it's like his Merseyside derby goals as well. It's one of them where, he's been hit with injuries quite bad, and it was really sad to see because he had such a good season under Carlo Ancelotti. And then when Rafa Benitez came in, it just went downhill from there, and he just hasn't been the same player since. So it is really hard to see him go, but we can understand why, because he's not playing enough at the minute. But that does now put us in the transfer window of trying to find another striker, because as much as I love Beto and as much of a good season he has had, I don't think he could be our out-and-out number 9 for the season. So it will be interesting to see who we bring in. I feel like a few others that have been released is Mason Holgate. He has now left Everton, in which he was on loan at, I think, West Brom last season, so we've not seen him for a while, so he's another one. Neil Maupay. It's
you
the
got
end
a fee
of an
for Neil
era.
Maupay. €4 million, it says here. 4 million non-euro pounds.
Blind. £4 million for that man, my God.
Yeah, so that's the end of an era. No more Neil Maupay and his tweets that angered every Everton fan possible.
Every football fan, I think. Never mind Everton.
Yeah. I think the one of the funniest ones was when he said, I think it was we posted something about the new stadium, and he put I'll see you in the Championship next season. But then he was being rumoured and linked with Sheffield United towards the end of the season. And it's well, we're staying up. It could be you that's in the Championship. But
I think it's a case of the relationship definitely broke down, didn't it? There was the end between the club and the player in that case.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Is Ashley Young gone as well? Did I see Ashley Young's? He's gone as well?
Yeah. But Seamus Coleman signed a new
New
contract.
deal for Seamus. This is it. You can only have one. Otherwise, your combined age of your right backs was hitting about 80, I think. So, but Seamus is here forever.
Yeah, going into, is it his 17th season at Everton now? Which is just incredible. And it's one of them. We knew he was going to be in and around the squad. We just didn't really know how. So to be able to still have him in the team, how much he'll play, we're not sure yet. But it will be. We just need him in the changing room. And I think every Everton player and every Everton fan will agree with that. We need his leadership and the passion that he has for Everton. So for him to have re-signed and just be in and around the team will be really good. And hopefully he can help Nathan Patterson, because I would really like to see him step up into the first team. So to be learning under such a great right back like Seamus Coleman, that partnership and the coaching that he could give him could be really beneficial for us.
It could be a big one for you. Silk says Everton have 15 players right now, 2 of which are youth who need a loan, 2 are right backs who can't stay fit. We're waiting on Gate and Keane to sign a new deal. Is Keane gone? I know his contract's expired, and they tried to. There was talks. They said late days, but that had nothing's materialised yet. Are they still talking to him?
Yeah. The talks are still ongoing with him. It's looking closer for Idrissa and Jared. That will be done in the next few weeks, but we're just waiting on Michael Keane. But I'm not sure, no offence to Michael Keane, I'm not sure why. Because he's just not in the thoughts of our centre backs.
He's not going to be your starter anymore, is he?
No.
Maybe that's why they want that experience, but it's a question, I guess, of whether he's happy to. I suppose he's 32, I think.
We have also just signed Eli Campbell on a 2-year deal, I believe it is. One of our academy lads who is an up-and-coming centre-back. So it's one of them where it's like if we're now looking at giving him a contract, maybe it is time to start seeing the likes of Keane, because Holgate's gone as well. So it's like seeing them move on, because Eli's not going to be in the academy under-21s for much longer, because it affects how we're able to play different matches, because you're only allowed, I think it's 3 over the age of 21. So it's one of them where we'll be looking more to move him up into the senior squad. So that'll be interesting. But I feel as if Keane's there, it could halt Eli getting a chance. I'm not saying this against Michael Keane, he was great for us. I mean, the goal against Tottenham, but I feel like his time at Everton, the end is near.
The end. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. As you said, and this is it. Ring those bells. Calvert-Lewin's end has come, obviously, to an end. 2016, you signed him with Sheffield United for £1.5 million. I suppose, value for deal, not too bad. 273 appearances, 71 goals across all competitions. Most prolific in 2021 when he netted 21 goals and got a spot in England's Euro 2020 squad. But injuries upon just 3 goals in 26 league appearances last season. So he says, Everton has been my home since I was 19 years old. It's the place that saw potential in me, challenged me to grow, and shaped me both as a footballer and as a man. There you go. What a lovely statement, you see. Love for the Everton. Rumours are Leeds, West Ham, Newcastle. Grimmy, where's a good destination for Calvert-Lewin, do you think?
As long as it's not Manchester United, I really don't mind.
We don't need another injury-prone forward, surely.
We've been linked with him, Sam. We've been linked with him. I know it's the merry-go-round that is a Man United transfer window, but we have been linked with him, and he's free. I just have a horrible feeling that we'll get to the end of the window, he's not being signed. We need a striker, and we go, hey, let's give it a go. Comes on for the last 10 minutes, gets injured in the injury time, ironically, and then it's oh, what have we done?
It's one of those I don't mind a free transfer, particularly when there's some, but you just know it won't be available. Just the availability is a problem, and what's he going to give you that Harry Maguire doesn't in the last 5 to 10?
Exactly. I don't mind a free transfer, but when he's got the injury record that he's got, it's pointless. We're trying to, if we're going to sign a striker, we need someone that's going to take time off Højlund, or at least play half the games that Højlund isn't going to play. And Calvert-Lewin's not going to be able to do that. like I know we've got a shorter period of game, like a shorter amount of games this season, but Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit. If he could stay fit, and even if he was in double digits last season, I'd have been like, yeah, take him. Like, why not? It's a free, go for it. But he can't do that. So in terms of where I'd like him to go, chuck him in at Liverpool, I guess. Not
Could you imagine? Christ,
Rebecca might start to riot, I think. No, I think Leeds, somewhere like that, is kind of his sort of fit, really.
I could see Leeds. I could see West Ham. I could see West Ham being a possibility.
Maybe he'll go to Besiktas like every other striker in the world. I don't know. Just I hope that the next part of like whatever club he goes to, I do hope he does well, because that season he had under Ancelotti where he scored 20 goals, you could see the player he could be. And it's just for the injuries, whatever else has been thrown his way, it's been really unfortunate to see that. But yeah, I hope he picks the right club and then he gets the opportunity. I think Leeds would be a good fit because I think he's better than Bamford. I think. I think he's better than Bamford. Like, someone back me up here.
Has Bamford been playing that much?
I was going to say, is that Bamford as injury prone at the minute as Calvert-Lewin?
They're like for like, aren't they?
Did you not hear the uncertainty in my voice when I said that? But yeah, I think like someone like that, maybe I can't see him going to Burnley or maybe Sunderland. Maybe would Sunderland take a crack at him? Maybe, I don't know. But it's definitely going to be a lower half club. There isn't going to be like a top 7 club that are going to come after him, which is unfortunate for him because I think he had that potential. But yeah.
I think he did, didn't he? And it's a shame it's kind of gone that way. And this is the thing: at 28, there's still a potential to reduce. It's just, you just need to see him for a period of time where he can kind of keep it together and keep fit. And it just seems it's going to have to be the right club to hopefully have that. To Wrexham, maybe. Dan's here, and he's quite pleased that it's not Burnley. Tell me, Dan, because I've been trying to search with Dave. What's going on with Josh Brownhill? We want the latest. What is going on with Josh Brownhill? Because I'm confused. Is he still with you? Is he not with you? I'm hearing all sorts. What's happening? And hello to Jen. Jen's had a very difficult day. We're all standing with Morecambe and that absolute nonsense that is going on there, and we hope that works out for the best for Jen. It's been a very, very, very sad day for Morecambe. If you haven't seen, I'm sure that will be covered again at the on the Lower League show on Thursday, as their existence is under threat, and we are very, very sad and frustrated about it, and we do feel for Jen. Talking of Leeds, Grimmy, they've done a little bit of business.
More than us, which is painful to say.
I think we have, but I mean, it's kind of in terms of from the UK. Possibly they've got Machar, as it used to be at Manchester City's academy. He's come in, free transfer up front from Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
Last season he scored 3 goals from 20 appearances. Probably going to need a few more than that to keep him up. But goal every 152 minutes apparently. But apparently they think he fits them. They've signed a young centre-back, not a young centre-back, so a 26-year-old centre-back. It's young compared to me, but in terms of football age, it's probably about peak. 18 million euros at Yakabijo from Udinese, of course.
Exciting stuff, yeah.
Exactly. Apparently a lot of interest there was in him, apparently, so they reckon they've got a good player here. 1.9 metres tall, so, you know.
I thought you were going to say it was 1.9 million, 1.9 meters.
No, about 15 million, I think it was 15 million squid. And apparently his stats are good. Wins a high percentage of duels, and like spraying long balls.
At 1.9 meters, you should be winning a lot of duels.
You would expect to. I'd imagine his aerial duels should be pretty successful. If they weren't, there's some huge questions, isn't there?
Yeah.
Some huge questions. And then they signed today Sebastian. They seem to love Wolfsburg. What's going on between the Leeds and Wolfsburg? There's another Wolfsburg player, Sebastian Bornau.
It's probably the German link with like Red Bull and links there that they've probably got some contacts in the back door with Wolfsburg of some kind.
Daniel Farker got any links with Wolfsburg potentially?
Probably, yeah. I think he does actually. Yeah, I mean, to be fair to them, with the business that they've got, they've been pretty well organised. I think the whole Red Bull thing coming in is probably going to help them a lot. Maybe trying to stay in the Premier League for a bit longer than 1 season or 2 seasons like it was last time. Yeah, I don't like it, Sam. It's Leeds.
It's yeah. Junior Firpo's gone though. Junior Firpo's been released, so he's off.
I know our mutual friend Mulch will be upset about Junior Firpo leaving, but he was always going to go, wasn't he? There's bigger clubs will be after him.
These things happen. Apparently, the new signing Dan says looks like Tim Kroll's sister. So there you go. Whoever Tim Kroll's sister is.
My question is, Dan, how do you know what Tim Kroll's sister looks like?
Tim Kroll's had a lot of clubs in the UK. He's been at a few clubs now. He's been around for quite a while. So maybe
that doesn't necessarily mean we've seen sight of his sister, though.
Surely she's watched a game or two. If she cares about him in any sort of way as a good sibling.
Wow.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine he's played over 10 years and she hasn't even bothered to go and watch him play? And I bet she'd maybe have taken that Euro ticket though when he saved the penalties. I bet she was there for that.
Probably. I probably would.
I don't know why we suddenly just attacked Tim Kroll simply for not watching any games on its face.
Yeah, we'll never say Tim Kroll Man United why he doesn't like his siblings.
This is it. Dan also says on, of course, the Josh Brownhill news. No announcement of Brownhill's exit, and the kit is being launched at 8 a.m. So we're kind of putting the two together. That would be him announcing the kit. Deserves that would be kind of a dramatic.
So. He's leaving, but he's announcing a new kit.
No, I think they're saying if he stays, that they think he's announcing the kit, right. But he deserves a proper send off though if he's gone. So I think that's what they're hanging their hats on.
That makes more sense.
Just releases just part of the kit release, and then he's just that season out.
Just takes it off and walks out the fire door.
He goes, nope.
we have seen it before where the players who everyone thought were leaving were spotted in the kits and in the promo material, and it's like, oh well, they must be staying. And then 2 days later, it's like, oh no, bye.
The worst ones are the club calendars, and then they leave in January. You can guarantee that every club has a one player that's in that calendar that goes in January that comes out in time for Christmas.
Yep.
Absolutely sure of it. But yeah, we'll see. Burnley love a good, exciting announcements. You never know what's gonna happen there. But as we're on Burnley, should we stick with the promoted club? Shall we? Let's have a little gander at what they've been doing over there. Axel Twanzebe, remember him, Grimmy?
Do I remember him? I wish we still had him.
He's on a free. He's gone to them on a free transfer. And Rebecca, what do you know about Kwalindashi Hartman, the left back from Feyenoord?
He's no Mikalenko. That's all I can say.
He's no Mikalenko.
I was waiting for Rebecca to pull out a notepad or a folder or something. And go, well.
Let
me tell you.
My scout report.
Let me have a look.
When I watched them play last season against Warwick, I saw Feyenoord versus Warwick, and he had a belter at €9 million, 23-year-old. So, obviously, lovely bit there. What else have they got here? Sadly, though, they've lost CJ Egan-Riley. I know Dan was disappointed about that because he had a great season last season. So he's gone to Olympique Marseille. But they have snapped up some of their loan deals from last season. Zion Fleming, Bashir Humphreys and Jaden Anthony are all in as well. So still lots to be done there. And Marcus Edwards, I think, has been confirmed as well. So lots and lots going on down that side of end of the table. Should we get this one out the way? Because there's a team that's doing very good business, and it's not something that probably pleases the panel very much here. Liverpool are splashing some cash. We've got Milos Kerkez in, obviously fantastic for Bournemouth last season at left back for kind of, I can't remember how much the price was. I don't think it was that bad actually.
40 million, I think.
I think you're right, Grim. It was around that. Let me have a look. For some reason, the website I've usually got it in euros, so 47 million euros. Florian Wirtz, 125 million euros. But I don't think there's any questioning his talent. So that's again another. Jeremy Frimpong as well. That's been done. That's in. Trent's obviously gone. Keller has gone to Brentford, and says there was a goalkeeper. What else have they had done of any note? They've also signed a couple of backup goalkeepers. Freddie Woodman from Preston North End and Armin Pexi, the Hungarian youngster from the Puskás Academy, which I know you're very familiar with, Grimmy, from your Hungarian scouting and Football Manager, I'm sure.
Well,
Grimmy's going to get his Hungarian talented future footballers folder out.
yeah.
And I'm sure he'll be top of the list. And the one that surprised me, Grimmy, Gerald Kwanzaa got sold to Bayer Leverkusen for about 30 million or something crazy like that, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, a good deal. So Liverpool's transfer window, Grimmy, not bad so far.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to win it again, aren't they?
Well, I think...
The only thing I'm holding out hope for, I don't really hope it. Hope's not the right word. But I would find it funny, is better to say, is if Wirtz, costing all that money, just didn't do well. But you know that if Liverpool are spending that much money on a player, he's probably going to do pretty well, isn't he? Like, he's probably the next De Bruyne, the probably where he's going to...
And it's going to be a case, isn't it? Because they've spent so much money on him that people are going to try and disprove it early. You always get that with the big son, and they're sort of like, "Oh, look, yeah, it's not that, it's not." But still, it's not going to be. I can't see it's going to be like Darwin Núñez style. Darwin Núñez wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. To be fair, like at times, I think he's been hard done by at times. But 125 million if you get that return.
Don't you worry. If we get to a point at the start of next
Grimmy
season,
will be right on it.
Done more, I'll be like, Højlund 1, Wirtz 0. There will be a scoreline, and I will bring it every week, every time Højlund is winning, because I am that petty. So
this is it. Grimmy is until he scores. Remembering that Anthony scored in his debut. Until Robin first scores a goal,
and he did that Wolves celebration as well. Oh my god,
he did indeed.
70 million for Anthony. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What were we thinking?
David says good signings, Liverpool, around 40, 50 million per player. If 2 or 3 play 7 out of 8 out of 10, there's a lot of fractions going on in that comment. Bargains, he said. Well, is it on average? It can't be on average 40 million if they spent 47 on Kirkes and who knows? Who knows with the fees? They're good players. I think we can all agree on that.
But what they'll bring as well is an energy that they didn't have in the wing backs as well. Yes. Robertson was starting to lose his legs, and what's his name from Bournemouth again? Remind me, please, Sam.
Milos Kirkes.
Kirkes.
Also Hungarian. You should know that with your Hungarian.
Well, my Hungarian scouting folder that is clearly hidden underneath the lens of the camera right now. And then you've got Frimpong. I think they'll just be up and down the wings, left, right, and centre next season, and they'll cause more problems than what they had before. Yeah.
Okay, Simon says if Liverpool do win the league again, I just hope someone pushes them all the way.
And my question is, who's that going to be?
Exactly.
You can't see anyone doing it.
The only again, hope is not the right word, but the only team I can really see doing it at the minute is Arsenal if they get that striker. But
if they get a striker, we're still asking that same question that we've been asking.
It did come up on my feed before that apparently Gyökeres is close for them. So
that's the one for me that makes the fact that you could get Gyökeres or you could get Sesko, whichever way they want to go. They just need to do it. I
feel like I'm
cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm part of maybe a small amount of people who think Sesko is the right move to go, because I think he's got potential. He's young. He scores goals. Whilst Gyökeres has played in the English leagues before and not done that great.
He was young and he developed really well at Coventry. To be fair,
yeah, and I'm just there's just something that's telling me maybe not Gyökeres. I mean, if he signs for United, I'll be buying a shirt with his name on the back of it, probably from some dodgy website that's selling shirts for like 20 quid or something. But hey ho, it's still a shirt with his name on the back. But yeah, they get that striker. I think they'll be a lot closer, or they'll at least maintain a challenge for a lot longer than they did last year. I think.
I think it's. I mean, like Graham says, Arsenal pushed Liverpool all the way until February. But it was interesting listening to Lucas last week because it's more than just the striker in certain areas. There's certain other areas he's worried. He's worried about Saliba's long-term future at the club as well. We've seen Thomas Partey's gone on a free. And we've seen Christian Norgard, which seems to have been met with sort of from the Arsenal fans. But I think sometimes you need practical signings in there. Not to forget they've lost Jorginho as well.
Yeah.
So like there's kind of something in there that's potentially they've obviously unearthed Lewis Skelly, which is a great addition. There's rumours over Julian Timber's not happy, might sort of be going there, and obviously there is a shot. So there is a couple of bits, as you said, that there's and there is no the pressure will be on Arteta like nothing else now. Surely, having dropped off last season the way they did, they were like, look. Okay, we've lost to the Man City team that have done us over the past two sides, and then Man City drop off, and Arsenal aren't there, and they get done by the context of a Liverpool side under a new manager who didn't buy anybody. It's a hard pill to swallow, and then to not consider that they're going to be able to match Liverpool next season, surely the pressure's going to be...
From the fans, yes. I don't think you'll get it from the ownership. I think if they're getting top 4 and they're still in the sort of top 2, 3, I think once he starts slipping out of that and he's like having to fight for Champions League and he's like fighting for Europa League or maybe in the Conference League places, getting down to crunch time, I think that's when the questions will come. But I think they've stayed the course through so many, I say in quotation mark, rough patches for Arteta, because I don't actually ever think he's been really that much in danger of losing his job. But obviously there's been waves of the fans being up and down on him, and I just think that if they can see that out, I think they can see a lot more out. And I think if they get that striker in and they can see a progression from even just last season, where they are fighting toe-to-toe with Liverpool and the cities of the world, yeah, I don't see them getting rid of him anytime soon, unless he has a really horrendous season. Like he'd have to. I think that would be when he'd go.
I think you're right. I think the ownership and their expectations are not the same as Arsenal fans, probably, particularly now after what's going to happen. They will know that they're back kind of where they want to be, fighting for it, which is not probably what Arsenal fans are going to want to hear, but that may well be the case. You've got, so just go to the chat here. David says Manchester City, if anyone, but Phil will be double-digit points behind the second. I mean, they're very much rebuilding, so interesting to see what we're going to get. Obviously, knocked out the Club World Cup yesterday, so they're kind of just finished their existing season, but they have made some big signings already. Rayan Cherki, we've seen Ait Nouri, we've seen Tiani Reinders come in. They obviously spent a lot of money in January. City are not going to muck around and sit and wait for it. Simon says Gyökeres would be a good signing for Arsenal. He really hopes he doesn't sign for United. Grimmy, no offence.
We are not getting Gyökeres. I'm telling you now. Like if we get Kuna and Mbeumo, there is no way without selling everybody we need to get rid of, we'd get hold of Gyökeres, Sesko, Osimhen. Hell, we probably couldn't even afford my grandma to stand up front and swing a leg at the ball every 20 minutes if we ever get the ball to her. She was on the pitch at Old Trafford, so yeah, we'd struggle.
But it might be Dom. It might be Dom. It might be Dom. Paul says no chance on him. Florian Wirtz and his brand new turbocharged combine harvester will leave everyone in his wake. Apparently next season. Fair enough. Rebecca, is there any transfers or any teams that you'd like to look at or talk about in terms of teams that excite you, or a deal that has made you go, oh yeah, I wish we had them?
I don't know. I mean, my main focus has been Scotland and Everton, so unless you want to talk Dundee.
No.
Dundee,
surely not.
Surely not. Dundee not making signs. Could DCL turn up at Dundee? Can they afford DCL?
Oh my God, Becca's mind would be blown.
Imagine Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the Scottish Prem.
I'd have him, but not at Dundee, because I like Simon Murray too much, and there'd be too much competition between them two. Simon Murray's club captain at Dundee, we leave him up front, and he scores for fun, so we'll leave it that way.
But then he would sign for another Scottish club and score for them against you.
Everyone scores against Dundee, it's fine.
It's expected. But my big Scottish Premier question, Rebecca, is where's Big Shanks off to? There's rumours of Big Shanks. Is he staying? Is he going?
is a bit here, there, and everywhere. All of the news. I think he's currently still contracted with Hearts. I'm not too sure, but it looks like he could be on his way out. Where he'll end up will be interesting.
There's always rumours.
I think he'd be quite good at Livingston. I feel like, or like one, is it like Falkirk, which is the other team that have been nearly promoted? I feel like it'd be a good one for them to try and keep them up for next season. It'd be interesting. It's quite hectic in the Scottish Premier at the minute. It's quite fun.
Mm-hmm. It's quite fun. There's a lot going on.
Sorry, Hibs have brought my heart because they've signed my third favourite Dundee player. So that's a bit sad. So they've got Josh Mulligan now. So very good signing for them, but a heartbreak for Dundee.
Damn you, Hibs. Davis says Brentford getting Kelleher is a good signing. I expect a top 10 finish for them. I don't know, because they've just... I think there's a lot of question marks over... They've obviously... Thomas Frank has gone to Tottenham, and they've got Keith Andrews in, who was their set-piece coach for a season, and it could be fantastic. I know Brentford have liked to promote from within and stuff, but just complete unknown, Grimmy. Like, I mean, can you see... Brentford, for me, I mean... I like Kelleher as a signing. I think that's a good signing. I think possibly even an upgrade on Flecken. So I think that's a good signing. Norgard's gone. Wemo looks to be on the kind of shelf off it. Do you worry for Brentford now? Because the Keith Andrews one. What do you make of that appointment?
It's not impossible that it could work, but I can't remember many examples of zero experience manager coming in from above, like below in the Premier League, like being not necessarily being the assistant manager or whatever. I don't remember many examples. People will be able to tell me in the chat, of course, but I don't really remember many examples of people coming through and just getting given a job and doing well. I'd like him to do well. Like, it would be a cool story to see that someone completely unknown just gets given the job, and then they sort of, the football manager story, as it were, of a complete unknown making a big team, or turning him into a big team, I should say. Yeah, if they lose those players as well, like the Bremos that you're talking about, obviously Keller is a good upgrade, but obviously they're going to need a bit of investment with that Bremo money if they get it. But it'll be interesting to see, because going to Brentford is usually, I would say, up there with one of the most difficult places to go, outside of obviously the typical top four places like Anfield. I don't think many teams like going to Brentford, and it'll be interesting to see if they keep that going in the early doors of the season with the new manager.
We'll do it is a question, because they certainly they're overachieving what we'd expected last in our predictions when we all looked at Brentford. They did fantastically well last season, so time will tell with that one, and we've still got a long way of the transfer window to go. Paul says massive call on Andrews in his most humblest of opinions. But he does hope that he succeeds. I think everyone likes Brentford. They've done a fabulous job in the Premier League since they've come up, and they've been good to watch. They have been good to watch, to be fair. Let me have a look. Any other? I'm just scrolling through my transfers to see anything that sort of screamed out to me at the minute. We've had a few people leaving today, like Callum Wilson's one. Callum Wilson has gone on a free transfer as well. Grimmy has a question or a transfer, or do you need a toilet? What was that?
all three at this point. No, there's two things, and they're kind of linked together. Newcastle's lack of business, and Villa selling the women's team for PSR purposes. What are your thoughts, guys?
Don't get me started on the selling the club for PSR.
It's almost like I put the Villa piece in there to get Becca riled up. Not saying it was, but it could have been.
Yeah. It's very, very frustrating that they're kind of like not sacrificing, I think that's the wrong word, but like sacrificing the women's team to try and keep within PSR. It's like, I know they can't remember it. Everton, we went through similar, if not worse, financial problems.
Yep.
Have we done anything like that with our women's team? No. Yes, our women's team was effective as much as we were, but it's one of them where it's like, at the end of the day, you're a club. If you have to sell your women's team to stay in PSR, you've done something wrong with your men's team, and I don't get why the women's team should have to suffer with that, and like the implications that could come with this as well. It is just really frustrating, and it just seems like it's one step forward for women's football and then 2 steps back, and it's like just the women's team. I could go on about that for ages, so I'll stop now.
but that's why I asked the question. It wasn't to wind you up necessarily. It was just to obviously hear your opinion on it, because I figured it was going to be along those lines, but obviously Chelsea did it last year. I think it was like 200 million or something. They sold it for. Villa have done it. And then the reason I sort of linked Newcastle in with that is that they haven't sold players necessarily, or even sold the women's team. Not that I think they ever would. But one, I guess, is it's obviously not right to be allowed to do that. I think that's kind of, if you have a women's team and it's under your name, you shouldn't be able to just sell it off for even whatever price just to be able to use it to avoid PSR rules. I don't think that's necessarily right. But there's also the question of, if you've got teams like Newcastle who are and Everton, like you say, Rebecca, not selling teams and doing everything by the book, or trying to at least, like, why are these other teams allowed to do that, and then these other teams aren't allowed to spend some money and, you know, get themselves out of any, like, a tricky situation they might be in? Because Everton have struggled the past few years because of the lack of money they've been able to spend. So yeah, it just doesn't seem fair, does it?
It's not, is it? I mean, a PSR is becoming, it already has been. It's just another. It's not fit for purpose. There's too many loops and things, and people doing different things around it, and no consistency, and all sorts of problems that we've seen with it. Graham says clubs using women's team purely to balance PSR and distance in the World Club mantra. Angry face. As Chris said, that Chelsea sold the ladies' team and now Villa. I mean, it's a nonsense when you kind of look around at that as it's just putting it as a second. The way it's being treated is as a second-rate element, and that's not what, when these clubs started to bring in their own women's team, that's not what the mantra and the mission statement and all the rest of it was. And to be fair, we've seen it at Manchester United. You know, there's been not a single thought to the women's team really this season, with the fact that, you know, they've been kicked out of everywhere to facilitate stuff for the men's, or the trainings happening. I think we've used their changing rooms or something. So there's been all sorts of nonsense behind the scenes, and so Jim Radcliffe has openly said, "Well, I've got too much to sort out with the men's team," but that's not the message, and that's not the point of why they wanted to create a women's football team. To have that, you can't leech off its success and then at the same time kick it into the dirt. Like, when it suits you, it can't go hand in hand.
Yeah, but it's like, sorry, go on, Rebecca.
No, it's also one of them where it's like, you see how much the women's game has grown over the years, but you have to look at how much effort and how much work is being put in behind the scenes to be able to get to that point. So it's one of them, it's like, doing this, it's just like, oh, right, well, it kind of makes it like, what's the point? Because you're just going to, like, throw it out of the way and just be like, right, well, we'll focus on the men's team, which should never be the way it is. And it's like Graham said, like, the one club, that's how it should be viewed. And I feel like, quite happily, I can say Everton, we have that. The owners have, when they've come into Everton, one of their main things is they want to support women's football. They want to support the women's team. Goodison, having them playing at Goodison is one key example of that. And it's one of them where the growth of the game is only going to happen with the support of these clubs. So for them to turn around and do this, like, you just don't know what's going to happen with the sale of the women's team. Yeah. Like, in the comments, Blackburn Rovers women. That whole situation is horrendous, and now they're not even able to compete in the WSL, like the championship. Like, they're in, I think it's like National League now. So it's one of them. It's like the impact that one little decision can have on the women's game is massive, and it just shouldn't be the case, and it shouldn't be overlooked anymore.
It's not, and it's all because of the way we're sat with this. As Gwen says, the PSR, which she's calling the pathetic, stupid rule. As Chris says, you've got Chelsea's men team are spending money so easy. It's just ridiculous because, they've got around it with the loophole of these kind of amortised contracts over long distances. You've got, Man United are doing it as a way round. They've got reason we're able to spend this much money this year is because of the PSR is linked to actually like one of the holding companies, and it's that they're split up by so many businesses to make the overall businesses, again, loophole. But then you've got Aston Villa, who I've seen a lot of complaining around their lack of business and their issues that they're having. Why is this? But then you also there was some shenanigans at the start of last season with some players moving around for some crazy money between certain teams to kind of get.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 teams involved. Yeah.
On the last couple of days, you're like £30 million for teenagers and youngsters that would just sort of seem to be shared amongst a little bit to get through it. And then also, they gambled. They gambled in January to try and get Champions League and Europe. And to be fair, were diddled on the last day with a bad decision, which did cost them. Then these kind of things have the knock on, but it's just not. It's another thing that's just not fit for purpose in terms of what it's supposed to be doing. And there's too many ways that those that have the money and the power are able to find the loopholes or the ways around it, and then it's the women's teams and such like that suffer.
Yeah,
It's not good. Paul says it's really poor when Chant got relegated from the Prem in 2007. They dumped the women's team, who had been one of the top teams at that point. So short-sighted. Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
I just, I apologise if that's caused any upset or anything bringing that up, but I just felt it was important when we're talking about transfers. No, I know, but I just felt it was important to bring it up because I know obviously we talk a lot about men's transfers, and I know there's a women's show that we have through the week, which again, please go watch because it's a great show. But I just felt it was important when it's the men's teams that are affecting the women's side of things as well. And I just sit and look at it, and it's like you've got big teams like Newcastle and Everton who treat these teams so well, and Newcastle have done a lot. Like Everton playing in Goodison, Newcastle women's team have played at St James's and done all these things and promoted it really well. It's just a shame that for some reason not everyone can follow that example and just have to take advantage of the situation. I just wanted to obviously highlight that. That's all.
No, I think it's a good, valid point, Remis. And to be fair, where obviously I'm involved in the kind of group chat with the women's football team in terms of, women's football podcast, in terms of what they're doing with the organising and such. And it's interesting to see because they're coming at it from a purely women's football fan position and the frustration. So it's interesting to see. It echoes a lot of what they find on a sort of regular basis, and it does. It's quite interesting for me to sit in that way, to have that context of them pure women's football fans and me kind of sort of reading and seeing their responses to things that are happening, and sometimes happening because of the decisions made because of men's football. So it is very much. And Graham says it needs highlighting. For more discussions like that, tune in every Wednesday at 8:30 for all things women's football. Look at that, Graham, doing the fantastic advertising. Ironically, tomorrow though it's 8:00, which I will deal with at the end. They're starting a bit earlier tomorrow night, but usually 8:30. You're absolutely right, Graham. You're absolutely right. So otherwise, just a couple more transfers, and then we'll get to our exciting, surprising quiz that I've got for these two at the end of the show, which is...
Why is it whenever we're together, Rebecca, and he runs out of ideas, he just pulls out a quiz for us to have to answer? What's that about?
I just know you're...
I think I won last time, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
This is why, you see,
hey, whoa, there was like one point in it. It wasn't like you won by a landslide here, okay? Let's just
point to point.
Point to point. I think this...
Did you win last time, though? I'm sure I won.
Was it a draw?
I think it was a draw. I
think you both did. Now.
No, I swear I did.
You both did equally well.
Everton quiz, and it was a very random
Sam's being the dad's like, all right, kids, let's just settle. Let's just calm it down.
Yeah, it wasn't. And nobody started it, but I'm ending
it.
This is Graham says, sounds like that teacher at school who would start listening with us and voices. I would, you see. I've been spending too much time with Freya. That's what it is. Freya's school teacher-ness has rubbed off on me in terms of the quizzes. And I know you two enjoy your quizzes. But there isn't going to be a winner with this one. It's just a fun quiz. It's just a fun quiz.
It's always a winner.
So other transfer I did want to touch on, because Ant would shoot me now that they're in the Premier League if we didn't talk about Sunderland. Sunderland have gone and spent the biggest money they've ever spent. All-time record signing today with Senegalese midfielder Habib Diarra from Strasbourg for 31.5 euro million non-pounds, with a further 4 million euro non-pounds of add-ons potentially. Which is massive, which in actual pounds is about 27 million plus 3 million in incentives. Probably should have started with that, but why not? Let's go the long way around. He's 21, He's got more than 100 senior appearances, plays for the Senegalese internationals. I scored against England last month in our fantastically exciting friendly against them at the City Ground.
The men's team doing us proud again.
Come on, you senior team. So with 11 senior caps for them. And so it's a massive fee. He's been playing under Liam Senior at Strasbourg, of course, who we know from his time at Hull. And there was interest from Leeds, West Ham, AC Milan, Eintracht Frankfurt. Is this a sort of business, Rebecca, they need to be doing to excite people to see they can stay in? Ant was very pleased about it, I think.
Yeah. I think there could be quite a bit that Sunderland may need to add, but that is purely just because, we see it all of the time with the new teams coming up. The gap is getting wider and wider between, the teams that are securing the Prem and then the ones that are up and down. I can't really say much because Everton have been in and around that relegation battle, and we've had players that God knows who, some of them. But no, it is an exciting time for Sunderland fans. I do feel as though there are quite a few players that they do need to keep hold of. I know Everton are being heavily linked with, I think it's Dan Neil. If we are to sign him, I would be very happy. But for Ant and Sunderland's case, I do feel like he's going to be one that they need to keep a lookout for and keep on their books for the coming season. But I do hope that they can challenge in the Premier League. I do just think there are going to be some more areas that they need to fill.
It's a lot of money to spend. I think, spending for Chris said they should have paid for more than one player. But they've got the fee. This is the figure I would guess from obviously Joe Bellingham going to Borussia Dortmund, and seems to be a similar mould by the sounds of it as a box to box player. So certainly one. Hopefully for Ant's side of things, that will give them some exciting players to look for. I think they've also turned the Enzo Lefebvre deal into a permanent as well. So. They can build on their promotion. Davey wants to know, is the quiz guess which position Man United will finish? I'm dreading next season's predictions already, because that is the question of all questions. I think that Grimmy and I are not looking forward to answering.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. This is the Premier League. And Paul says, I'm doing a great selling job. Well, there we go. I'm good at selling, but more in a wrestling way than anything else usually. So we've done the transfers, I think, unless there's anything else, anybody else, any late transfers. Let me just have a little look at, I'm going to have a little scan online let's see if anything's happened in the last hour while we've been on that might shock or awe you in terms of massive deals. And of course go to the main man himself, the Mr. Here We Go. Mr. Romano is usually a good place to go to for the latest in terms of what's happening. He's talking about the Club World Cup, though. We don't too excited about. I think we said, Rebecca, Kenny Tete was linked with Everton, but he's not. He's staying at Fulham with his contract. What else have we got going on here? It's all from earlier. And Antoine Semenyo signed a new contract, so it looks like he's staying at Bournemouth. So there'll be Heather will be very, very pleased with that information. And Everton are linked. There's a link here, Rebecca, to a player. Tierno Barry.
Barry?
Yeah, Barry. I think it sounds like Gareth Barry's Spanish brother. So I'm going to go with Tierno Barry. What do you know about Tierno Barry?
He was playing in the Under-21s tournament. I think, if I've got my names correct, but we just refer to him as Barry at the minute. It could be a very exciting one. And there's also been a little teaser because he's posted a photo of him at the airport going to Manchester. So it does look like, with the tournament being finished now, he is on his way to join Everton. But there's quite a few teams in and around that area, so you lot could end up getting him at one point. We never know.
You could end up with the old Rubinho, wasn't it? Who thought he was going to United and ended up at City. So you've got, apparently the deal is at the final stages. Personal terms have been agreed. So there you go. Tierno Barry. Exciting times, hot off the press. So there we go. And Paul says, there you go. Teza Baza will be his new name apparently next season. Exciting. So, are we ready, quizzers?
No. I mean,
No?
yes. Quizmaster.
Yes.
Always.
They're very ready. Right. So we're going to start. Rebecca's going to go first.
Oh no.
Because you're at the top, so you get to start first. So what we've got is it's a cheeky game of higher or lower. Okay, so I've got some Everton transferinos from the last 10 years, and you've got to tell me whether the fee that Everton paid was higher or lower than the previous player. Okay,
Right.
I've got a list of about.
He's been
about
working
12,
all
maybe.
weekend on this, Rebecca. Let's try to at least look like we're enjoying it.
I've put a lot of effort into this. I didn't just ask ChatGPT this afternoon, give me a list. That definitely did not happen. But there's no points. Nobody wins. It's just for a bit of fun. It's just for fun because we like having fun. That's what the podcast is all about. So, Rebecca, your first player that we're going to start, your baseline. Ashley Williams, who you signed in 2016, cost you 12 million. We've gone back to pounds to make it easier. 12 million pounds.
Those non-euro.
Euro non-pounds.
Euro non-pounds.
We're in British, the greatest of the British pounds. 12 million of those for Ashley Williams in 2016. So starting off, your next player, higher or lower, Richarlison.
Oh. Richarlison was higher.
Correct. Richarlison signed in 2018 for 35 Great British million pounds.
But it went up to 50 because I had the chant going round in my head, so that's how I know.
There was another. So next up, Luca Dean.
Oh my god. I'll say less.
It was less, 18 million pounds for Luca Dean. It was 18 million pounds. Moise Keane, remember him?
Yeah, he didn't do much.
Even I'm like,
see, Graham's got it. This is the theme I did want to play at the start. Do, do, do.
I'll say higher.
Higher for Moise Keane, higher than 18 million. Correct, 25 million Great British pounds in
25 mil for. Oh wow!
That was some big.
Still want him. Teams are still after that man.
Yeah, I think he scored against Hull for us or something. I think that was
that's worth 15 million alone. That goal. I mean, that's the selling, isn't it? You know, do you want this? He scored against Hull in the FA Cup.
It might not have even been Hull. It could have been Fleetwood.
Oh wow! Okay,
even better.
Even better.
I'm not offending these teams, by the way.
So next we have higher or lower than 25 million pounds. The king of the tackles, Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Which time?
This is the 2016 signing of Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Because I was going to say, if it was this time, how much do we sign Idrissa for? This is actually really hard. I don't like this. I'll say lower.
He's gone for lower. In the chat, we've got Paul's just chucked in lower as well. And you're both correct. 7 million. Just 7. What a bargain. 7 million pounds. There you go. That's a pound for every tackle he's made in the Premier League. Next, higher or lower than 7 million pound, Amadou Onana.
Higher.
Not to be confused with a certain other goalkeeper. Higher, 33 million pounds. Correct. It was higher. And then talking, Amadou Onana.
Never mind.
I've got going for the song because he's still in the bad books, so he doesn't get the song until he's proved himself.
Until he actually makes a save.
Yes, to get rid of the stupidity, then that song is banned. Higher or lower than an Amadou Onana at 33 million? Jordan Pickford.
Oh, this one could be quite interesting. Because how long have we had him? I'm going to say
the last 10 years, so it must have been within that time frame.
It was 2017. Sorry, Jordan Pickford.
Has he really been England goalie for that long? Wow.
So you think all those tournaments? Do you think? Remember, we saved
Well,
that
yeah,
penalty from
2018
Colombia. That was
2018 was the first one. Yeah.
I'll say lower.
Lower. That's correct. 25 million. And they're playing in the chat.
It's not
David, 4
competitive.
out of 4. Times lower as well. There we go. Everyone's doing all right.
This
So
is
we
where
had
it's going to get
Jordan.
to United, and it's going to be.
You went to United, and for me, it's just some of the ridiculous fees that I was just going down. I was going, really? So higher or lower than Jordan Pickford? Davy Klaassen. You remember was he your small Dutch midfielder that played for a little bit?
Would you say he was a classy signing?
Classy, Davy.
Got no idea who he is.
Signed in 2017.
So what was Pickford?
Pickford was 25 million British pounds. Not to be confused with
so
those.
is the repairs into Sam's fall that he's just having to make.
Surely he's going to have to be lower than Pickford.
Lower than Pickford. Correct. £2 million lower. £23 million you paid for him.
We spent 23 million on a player I do not know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all of our mistakes are very well known. So
it's very well known and very expensive. Higher or lower than a David Klaassen? Nikola Vlasic.
Oh god.
Signed in the same year.
I'll say more.
You said more than 23 million. No, incorrect. Just 10 million.
10?
10 million.
I mean, I'm still shocked with that other one of the fact we spent 23 million. This just shows how, like, with some of them, how bad our payment has been over the seasons.
This is it. I think every club's got some. I mean, I can guarantee you Man United's is at the minute. That is for sure.
More payments and appearance.
He wasn't a previous list actually that I did, but I had to take it out because it included free transfers. I was like, that's not really going to work, is it? You can't get lower than a free transfer. So Nikola Vlasic, higher or lower? We've got 5 to go. Higher or lower? Alex Iwobi.
Higher.
Correct. £28 million. Higher or lower than an Alex Iwobi? Cenk Tosun.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What an era that was. Lower.
Correct. Just lower. £27 million. Just £1 million lower. And higher or lower? Yerry Mina.
Oh. Miss Yerry. I'll go lower.
Go lower. David's currently 7 out of 7. But I don't think you're going to get this time because it's exactly the same. It's the same. It's the £27 million. It's the same. So technically, you're kind of right if you're higher or lower, but it was exactly the same. 27 million.
Well, you're not right if you're higher or lower because it's the same.
All right, Grimmy. I'm trying to be positive for everybody. It's Christmas Grinch in July. No points.
You do remember me wearing the Grinch T-shirt on the Christmas episodes, right? I did wear that.
You did
for a reason.
You did for ruining people's points and games. Higher or lower than a Yerry Mina? Yannick Bolasie.
Higher.
God, remember him?
Higher than 20. No, just lower. 25 million for Yannick Bolasie. And your final one, Rebecca. Higher or lower than a Yannick Bolasie? I raise you Theo Walcott.
Oh, this is tough. I'll say lower.
Lower. Correct. £20 million for Theo Walcott. So very well done. I wasn't counting your score, but it seems you got more right than wrong. So
I think I got 3 wrong.
That's not bad. It's not bad out of the list. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now we move over to Sir Grimmy, Manchester United, and the
Becca's had enough. She's just had enough.
Just at the name, she's like, no, I'm done. Right, some fantastic fees coming up. So we start with
last 10 years, yeah.
Last 10 years.
Thank
the
God
man, the mystery, the legend of centre midfield, So legendary, he's only got one name. It's Fred, of course, signed in 2018. £53 million for a Fred. A £53 million Fred.
Yeah, we did that, didn't we?
We did. So higher or lower than a Fred Grimmy? Mason Mount.
Oh, you swine. He can't have been more than 53 million, surely. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he's like 50. I remember it being around 50. We'll go lower.
Going lower. Wrong. No, Mason Mount was £55 million.
Oh, you stitched me up with that. Like, you stitched me up good and proper.
You've got some easier ones. You've got some easier ones coming up.
Rebecca got all the easy ones.
They're only easy if you know the answer, you see.
Would you know the Everton ones?
I actually got quite a lot of them, and I was surprised by how much I remembered of Everton's transfers for some reason.
Remember the toffee transfers. Higher or lower than a Mason Mount, Grimmy? The forehead of destiny, Harry Maguire.
Oh, higher.
It was higher. £80 million for that absolute man mountain of joy. Super Harry Maguire. So this is where it gets a little bit easier. Higher or lower than a Harry Maguire, Grimmy? Daniel James.
Lower.
Was lower. Only £15 million, Daniel James. Now,
I think he was like one of the only transfers where we've actually sold him for more than what we bought. I think
we actually made money on Dan James. We did.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah.
God bless you, Leeds United. God bless you.
Simon says that we could have got Fred Flintstone for cheaper. Probably could have got Fred Flintstone for cheaper. But there you go. Fred's doing bits in Turkey now. Higher or lower than a Daniel James, a Jadon Sancho?
Higher.
Correct. 73 million Great British pounds. Higher or lower than a Jadon Sancho, Romelu Lukaku?
Lower.
Incorrect. It was higher. 75 million Great British pounds.
Is this like full transfer fees, or is this like with add-ons?
This is mostly it's with add-ons, yeah. I think.
Oh well, I'm not. I'm just thinking of the actual transfer fee. Well, this is why I'm getting stitched up.
Tell a lie, because I do have one later on where it tells me it rises or something with add-ons. So no, this is base. This is base transfer fee. Apparently.
I'm questioning the Mason Mount one first, because I'm sure his base was like 50 million.
Who knows?
I know it's like only like 5 million.
Who knows what it's officially accounted for? You know, you get undisclosed deals as well.
PSR again.
PSR strikes again. You see, because it's amortized over 700 years at Chelsea. So maybe that's happened. I don't know.
But I was thinking with Lukaku it was 70 million. That's why I went lower. I thought it was initially lower.
According to this list, it's 75 million.
You're just blind.
Apparently. Higher or lower than a Romelu Lukaku? Victor Lindelof.
Can safely say lower.
Was lower. £31 million for Victor Lindelof.
31 million for Victor Lindelof.
Yeah. But for 2017, got 8 years of probably 5 years too many, but we got 8 years of Lindelof at centre back. Higher or lower than a Victor Lindelof? Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Higher.
Was higher. 50 million Squid Games.
50 million? I thought we only signed him for like 40. Oh my god. Right, okay.
50.
This is so bad.
50 mil. So look at this. Everyone's giving United bashings and like we've overspent on these wonderful players.
Block out the haters, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, outrageous. Higher or lower than an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Grimmy? A Bruno Fernandes.
Oh. If Wan-Bissaka's 50 billion, but didn't we get Bruno for like 40 or something? I'm sure we got Bruno for like super cheap. I say super cheap, it's 40 million, you know what I mean? But I'm going to say lower.
You're correct. £47 million for Bruno Fernandes.
the one transfer we probably made our money back.
That's by far the best transfer in this list. By far the best transfer for that fee.
Yeah.
I mean, how we paid less than what we paid for Raul Wan-Bissaka. It's incredible. But 47 million, deal. What a deal. Higher or lower than Bruno Fernandes. The goal scorer of some goals, Rasmus Højlund.
Higher.
Correct. 72
why?
million pounds.
Oh, and I bet next on the list is Anthony, and you're gonna make it even worse.
No, Anthony actually isn't on the list.
That's all right.
I left him out.
Just to save me the pain. Thank you.
He didn't make it. We'll have no Bruno slander here. We'll have no Bruno slander. You can slander everything else. Come on.
I respect you.
It's been hard enough.
But no.
It's been hard enough. And Simon says 40 million, super cheap. Yeah, that's
for what you got out.
A rare good deal.
Simon. Right, this is where I get on my box today. I know I've had a few boxes today, but for Bruno Fernandes, who's been perennial team of the season candidate for the past 5 years, 47 million is super cheap. Kevin De Bruyne was like 40 million for City. I think everyone would agree that's super cheap for him, really. Right?
He's worth two Davy Claessens. He's worth two Davy Claessens. Two Davy Claessens.
It still hurts my brain that he was an Everton player.
And be careful what you wish for. Hello, lads. And Rebecca. Rebecca's here as well, but hello as well. Thanks for joining us. And it says goal scorer, as in a goal. Yeah, he scored a goal or two.
Hey!
Hoyland's European record ain't too shabby.
Second off that first season, he went 5-6 games in a row scoring.
Yeah.
Did you score against Spurs?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And Villa.
Exactly. So, what we've got here is, sorry, just removing somebody from the chat as we go to the next one. We've got higher or lower than Rasmus Højlund, Casemiro.
Ooh. I'm going to say lower.
Correct. It was £60 million.
Right. Yeah, that was the infamous. Oh my God, we're terrible under Ten Hag. We're going to buy Casemiro and Anthony.
Spanked by Brentford. Let's panic into some overspending. Higher or lower than a Casemiro, Diego Dallo.
Lower.
Correct. Now, actually, this fee, £19 million.
Yeah, wasn't he a Mourinho buy? Yeah.
Considering what we've kind of got, I think there's still you can upgrade and there's stuff you could do. But actually, for a fee for that kind of player, what he's given you, I don't. That's not unfair. Anthony Martial, higher or lower than a Diego Dallo?
Higher.
Correct. With both his base and his add-ons, which for some reason this was the only one that added add-ons because I think he's
going to pay them if you won the Ballon d'Or. Oh,
yeah. I think that's a. I think that's a safe clause. 36 million, which rose to 58 million with add-ons. So it rose to that didn't even include the Ballon d'Or add-on because didn't really get there, did it? Simon says what we all know. Yeah, United have really wasted a lot of money over there. Yeah, these are a lot of these. Remember the Woodward years, which were not successful in many ways, shape, or form. Higher or lower than an anti-Martial, Donny van de Beek.
Higher. We spent like 50 million on him as well.
No, less.
What?
35 million.
Oh, you've stitched me up again.
I think he played one match for us when he came on loan, and that was against Arsenal last match of the season.
Yeah, he got injured, I think, because we were like, "Oh, let's see if he can get some minutes," and it was like, "No, he's just hang out with Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a bit, and then came back in the summer, basically."
Yeah, he played It was a match against Arsenal, so we'd secured our spot in the Prem midweek with Calvert-Lewin scoring against Palace, and then we just had the most random team out against Arsenal. Got beat like 5-0, but we didn't really care. No, 5-1 because I think he scored. I think Donny van de Beek scored.
he did. I think he scored for us on the first game or something. He came off the bench. You remember Grimmy? He came off the Solskjaer, didn't he?
2-1 or something, and then we were like, "Oh, he's a good player," and then we never saw him again.
Yeah, we didn't play him. And then finally, higher or lower than Adonis Van der Beek, Lissandro the Butcher Martinez.
Oh, you've picked some horrible ones. When did we sign Martinez? Was that the first Ten Hag season?
2022 was Martinez. So that was Ten Hag.
I'm 40 million is in my head, but he's easily one of those ones we could have, for some reason, got for like 25. I'm going to go higher.
You're right with higher, but it's higher than where you were. 57 million, according to this.
For Martinez?
I don't know.
I think we need to start looking into ChatGPT's official sources because that doesn't.
I think there's some questions.
57 million doesn't seem right for Martinez.
There is some questions, and Paul says
Hashtagged out
it
as
really
the
is a roll of shame. I think what I will defend though is that United have done some awful business and they've done some awful negotiating, and a lot of it's been awful. However,
I'm waiting for the defence here.
However, we do get inflated prices. We do get inflated prices.
Yeah, but that's because
we have to buy
stupid.
and we don't sell well.
Yeah, but
again,
we don't.
I'm not really defending us, but
there's no defence.
All comes into the pot.
Stupid.
It all comes into the pot. David says, if I was Rebecca, I'd be laughing at these players. Exactly.
But
she just wishes she had Davy Klaassen in midfield again.
I can't
just to remember him.
Like, we've not done, like, I mean, some of your prices have been, no offence, ridiculous. But we can't say much when we're spending £20 million on Neil Maupay. And it's like half of the players that we've gone through, we've overspent massively with some, but we've had, like, nothing to show for it either.
I think you'd be surprised if we did this for every club, that the list would be similar. I think this kind of round, you'd be like, really? Like, even if you go to, like, you know, top of the table, but Liverpool, Darwin Núñez is probably should question. I remember them buying Alberto Aquilani for like 30 million, didn't even last the season. Like, that, everyone's got them. United just got more of them recent times. But there you go. Paul says a valiant but ultimate futile attempt at defence, Sam, rather the team.
Who just pulls the pot?
Dad, come on. Harry Maguire's there. The defence is fine. That's all you need. That's all. I think Paul's I think he's a fellow Charlton. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul.
They have that crazy man managing them at the moment, who's like doing praying to God poses when they've won the playoff semi-final.
I can tell you, down here in Southampton, he's popular. He's very, very popular with the Southampton fans. I don't think he'll be coming to the South Coast anytime soon, unless he's playing them in the Cup, and then that might be interesting. But
wait, hang on. Who got promoted in the playoffs again?
Oh no, they're all playing each other in the league, aren't they? They're playing each other in the league.
Yeah, they're going to be playing each other in the league. I thought Charles got promoted.
Nice. They'll look forward to seeing him.
Sam's going to be rubbing his hands for that weekend.
Well, he'll get a lovely reception. I've no doubt about it. He's Charlton, but a plastic scouser. There we go.
Well, there you go.
There we go. And Graham confirms they are playing them in the league. You are playing them in the league twice, Graham, home and away. There you go.
Come on, Southampton.
Will be we into Asante, and we've reached the end of our podcast. We've done a wonderful hour and a half.
Fighting with the chat.
Anything we can to kind of get you some content over the summer to keep it going. As you know, we are doing bits and pieces throughout the summer to try and keep things rolling. Some shows have it easier because they have European Championships somewhat, and we've got some transfers and some quizzes and some transfers. So we will.
Scottish Cup coming up.
Oh, and Scottish Cup. If you want,
I'm not here for the first round. I'm not here.
You're not here for the first round. We can never talk about the Scottish Cup if you're not here for the first round.
But I'm going to the match as well. So I'm going to.
If you're missing if you're not here for the first round to talk about it, how could we possibly continue a series?
I will
all the way through to the end.
I will type it out or write it out in my notes, send a picture in the group chat, and one of you can cover it because I will be sat watching Accrington and Everton.
I can't read.
You can read my handwriting.
Grimmy can't read Scottish.
I struggle to read my own handwriting.
Scottish. Oh dear.
It says read with a Scottish accent.
The Ock League Cup coming up. So we've got plenty coming up. Don't worry, we've got plenty coming up. Plenty of ideas to keep you entertained. And we have an opportunity as well to join the wonderful Premier League team. If you saw at the Twitter this weekend, we are looking for applications. If anybody would like to join, if you have any teams that you support in the Premier League, if you'd like to join the team and you're available on Tuesday nights and would like to, please do follow. Have a little look at the Twitter, and there's a kind of guide in there. Effectively, drop us a message or something if you're interested. If you've got any podcasting experience, if you want to sort of do and you just fancy, and you just think, you know what, on a Tuesday night, I've always wanted to talk to Grimmy. I've always wanted to talk to Grimmy. Here's your opportunity.
I tell you, there are not many people on this planet that have that thought process, Sam, and I don't blame them.
It says, don't miss your opportunity. This is a once in a lifetime. I was going to say something I shouldn't say then because it related to someone that used to do a show who used to give things out to children, and we're not going down that road. So we'll ignore that. Jesus. And we'll move on. Exactly. We're not going for that. We'll ignore that reference.
That one's gone straight off me, and I've got no idea what you're on about.
No,
it's fine.
It's best to, Rebecca. Maybe we'll explain it off camera, but just meet Grimmy. Just meet
Graham's silence is just like, whoo.
This is it. We won't give that reference. We're doing lots of shows. But if you want more of these people, our safe pair of hands.
Take it away from me. Apparently.
Take it away from me. Rebecca, where can everybody find you and all the wonderful stuff you're doing?
You can find my personal TikTok and Twitter, which is _Rebecca_short_. You can find my Her Game 2 content at Her Game 2 ASFC, which I did something very exciting today, which I can't say yet, but it will be coming out very soon, and it's a really, really, really exciting thing for me. So that'll be hopefully out soon. And then you can find me on the Girls in the Grandstand podcast with the amazing Jen, who covers a Thursday and a Monday show. And I will be doing a full Silverstone takeover this weekend.
Very, very, very exciting. Very exciting for Rebecca. And of course, talking of exciting, Green, where can everybody find you and what you're doing on your YouTube channel with new content? I saw new content the other day.
Yeah, so interesting in fact that Rebecca has decided she doesn't want anything.
She said, no, I'm not having that.
She's had enough. I don't blame her.
My Wi-Fi cut out again. I do apologise.
Oh, the Wi-Fi cut out. I've heard that excuse before. So we've had a bit of a change over on the St. Grimmy channel. We're no longer covering sports video games. We are now covering sports trading cards, which is a recent hobby I've picked up, which can be solely put on the shoulder of blame on Mulch and Morris, who Sam knows from our time on FMTM. And yeah, I've become somewhat obsessed. And it's not a healthy obsession, I don't think. So we're doing lots of videos, and we've got about 2 months worth of videos, which are now planned out. And I have the stuff essentially to make said videos. So there'll be about 2 or 3 videos a week for the next 2 months. And I hope you'll give them a watch and see what you think. We're going to be doing football/soccer cards for the American people. We'll be doing F1 cards, and we'll be doing basketball cards as well. So, I said F1 cards, and Rebecca instantly perked up there. So, it's been really fun. And yeah, that's kind of the main place for me in terms of my solo stuff, as well as the wrestling channel I'm working on with Bragster, taking the pin. We've got stuff coming out. A couple of videos a week. So yeah, if you like any of those things and you're a nerd like me, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. And what are you doing, Sam?
What I'm doing, watching your channel currently. I think that's my evening sorted. I think all of the Grimmy's just more Grimmy videos in my life.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
NHL cards.
I was going to ask that.
See, NHL is on the list at some point. I need to learn a bit more. Once I'm at that point, I can feel confident enough to talk about it in a video. We will get there. But yes, there will be NHL.
About NHL.
I don't know enough about American, like, apart from basketball and NFL, because I do watch those. NHL is one of those things that I feel like I should be watching because it seems like it's up my street. But
So good.
I think the other thing is as well, I have a younger sister who was massively into NHL, so that's probably my way in terms of getting an explanation. Is if I sit down with her and watch some games, she can be like, right, this is what's going on. This is why that guy's took off his helmet is starting to bash his brains in, and this is why this is going on. So once I've got that sort of, and I understand who's who and what teams are what, there is potential for NHL to be in the offing.
It's a spoiler to the future of what is coming.
Anything and everything. We can do card openings on anything and everything.
Okay. And Graham says there's no such thing as a healthy obsession. Okay. Wise as ever.
I don't know about that. I mean, eating healthily seems pretty good.
It's not an obsession, though, is it?
Well, some people it can be.
No.
They're doing it for health reasons.
An obsessive healthy eating health reasons.
What is in this bottle of water? Sorry.
Obsessively healthy. That's what we're all about. And yes, you can. I do some stuff sometimes. I do. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Sam Absolute FBL YouTube channel. I'm preparing for the next season where I'm going to try and be doing like weekly Premier League reviews. And I do have an Sam Absolute EFL channel where I do the EFL League. So at the minute, you'll see some shorts and whatnot dropped on there. But again, as the new season comes up, I'm working at the moment on season previews. I was looking at League One today, so hoping that they'll be coming out probably in a few weeks while I'm on holiday. So that will be coming out at the end of July, start of August, perhaps, as we go into the new season. So working that through, getting there. Exactly as Graham says, talk about all the Charlton transfers now. Well, I can't because I've not got the Championship yet, Graham. On League One and where you were. You told me to do League One. I did it, and you got out of it. What can I do about it? It's this, selfish behaviour going up and get promoted. But anyway, I have both of those. I am on Twitter at SamAbsoluteFBL. I am on TikTok as well, doing stuff. They're probably the most places you can catch me. But of course, it's so important. It's massively important, hugely important that you like, subscribe, and support the channel we support. And we love the fact that we have all of you guys chatting to us in the chat. It is fun. I know sometimes we banter back and forth, but it's all positive, and we love having you here, and it makes the show fantastic. And we are still the best new content creator. We are. We did win it at the Football Content Awards from last year, and we have 4 live shows a week. And this week we're going to be doing 4 live shows as well. Even though it's the summer, we've got plenty of content for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So on a Monday, it is absolutely non-league show with Charlotte. They did a fantastic season review last night on National League. So if you're a fan of any National League sides, do go and check that out. It was a great chat they had on there. Charlotte's an absolute trooper doing all the season reviews. I think she's on 5 of 6. The final one is coming on Thursday, and then we can finally put last season to bed. But we have, of course, the Absolutely Premier League show as well. This is us on a Tuesday. If you want to catch and you missed it last week, we did our season review. So myself, Rebecca, and the wonderful Lucas Crabdribble went through team by team on what we thought on last year's season. On Wednesday, we've got the Absolutely Women's Football Show, which is Euro 2025 time. Very exciting as that starts tomorrow. And so we are changing the start time of that to 8 o'clock because the kickoff is at 8 o'clock. So if you started at 8:30, we've missed the first half an hour of the which would be no good at all. So they are Switzerland versus Norway, I think, is the opener that they'll be covering tomorrow night. But we will be keep an eye out because they're going to do a lot of live watch-alongs. England versus France, they're going to do on Saturday with Freya and the team. So that's very excited as lots is going on with that. And on Thursday, we have the Absolutely Lower League show with Shah and the Rowdy Rabble. We can catch Rebecca on there. Catch me on there this week as well. I'm doing a flying visit. Championship season review this Thursday. Very exciting, so do catch us there as well. And as Graham says, Graham's always good with the advertising. Look at this. He does it better than I do. Friendly reminder, nominations are open for this year's FCA, so go and nominate this amazing team. Yes, if you could, that would be wonderful. It would be fantastic to be nominated again. We'd love to be involved, but do that. Of course, not telling you have to. It would just be nice. It would just be nice. But if you're not checking us out already, we are on Twitter, Absolute Ball Pod, on YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast, and Twitch, on TikTok, Absolute Football Pod, on Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football, and on Facebook. Sometimes, probably, don't know, the Absolute Football Podcast. There is a page there. Not sure what goes on it or how often it's updated, but there is one there. So you can feel free to check that out as well. So wonderful, Thunderbar. We hope you're all surviving the heat. Have a fantastic week. We will catch you soon. Ciao for now. And enjoy the tennis, because we love a bit of Wimbledon.
Coco Cross out.
Ciao. Ball.